The Galactic Military Academy had trained warriors from 200 species. Its halls had echoed with the sounds of combat drills, strategic simulations, and the disciplined march of future commanders. Never, in its 3-century history, had it scheduled classes around someone's nap time. Until Kaelin arrived. She stood barely 5 feet tall, with soft features and gentle eyes that seemed perpetually concerned. When she first walked through the academy's massive doors, carrying nothing but a worn backpack and a thermos of something called tea, the instructors had exchanged worried glances. Humans were still new to the galactic community. This particular human looked like she would cry at a raised voice. The academy's nursery was the problem. Every major military institution maintained one, a necessity when officers came from species with long childhoods. The Vrelnian cubs were the current challenge. 23 of them, aged 2 to 4 in human years, with fur that shifted colors based on emotion and teeth sharp enough to pierce armor. Their leader, Vash, was a grizzled veteran who had survived 3 wars. He had requested nursery duty after his last campaign, hoping for something simple. Instead, he found himself managing a daily crisis. The cubs cried constantly. They refused to eat. They bit the staff. 2 assistants had already quit. The cubs' parents, all active officers, were growing concerned. Perhaps you could try singing, one instructor suggested. Vrelnian lullabies? Vash had tried everything. The cubs simply screamed louder. That was when someone mentioned the human. Kaelin was in her 3rd week of orientation when Vash found her. She was sitting in the cafeteria, sharing her lunch with a young Thalaxian cadet who looked homesick. She listened more than she talked, occasionally reaching across to squeeze the cadet's hand. "Excuse me," Vash said, his translator rendering his growl into polite standard. "I have a problem." Kaelin looked up with those worried eyes. "Oh no, what's wrong?" 20 minutes later, she stood at the nursery entrance while 23 cubs screamed inside. The sound was deafening, a chorus of distress that made the walls vibrate. Vash watched as Kaelin's expression shifted from concern to something else. Something determined. "May I?" she asked, hand on the door. Vash nodded, curious despite himself. Kaelin walked in and sat down on the floor. She did not try to quiet them. She did not reach for them. She simply sat, cross-legged, and began to hum. The sound was soft, almost lost beneath the screaming, but she kept humming. Minutes passed. Then, slowly, one cub stopped crying. Then another. They stared at this strange creature who sat among them without fear, without commands, just humming. After 10 minutes, the room was quiet. After 15, a cub approached. Small, with orange-tinged fur indicating curiosity. It sniffed Kaelin's hand. She remained still, humming. The cub climbed into her lap. By the end of the hour, all 23 cubs were gathered around her. Some in her lap, others pressed against her sides, many simply sitting close. She had stopped humming and started talking, her voice soft and low. "I know you miss your parents," she said. "I know this place is big and scary and nothing smells right." The cubs watched her with wide eyes. "But you are so brave. Look how brave you are. You came here even though you were scared." Vash watched from the doorway, his translator picking up every word. This human was not treating them like soldiers in training. She was treating them like children that it should not have worked. Vrelnians were a warrior species. Strength was everything. Coddling made weakness. Yet the cubs pressed closer, their fur shifting to peaceful blues and greens. The next day, Kaelin returned. And the day after that, she brought picture books from Earth, stories about talking animals and brave little creatures. She taught them simple songs. She let them climb on her during story time, 23 cubs using her as furniture. During her 3rd week, Kaelin mentioned she needed a short rest after lunch. "Just 20 minutes, she said, apologetic. "I get tired around midday." Vash arranged it immediately. Classes shifted. Training rotations adjusted. At 1,300 hours each day, Kaelin would lie down on a cushion in the corner while the cubs napped around her, sprawled across her legs and stomach like furry blankets. The Academy's commanding officer had questions. "You are telling me," Commander Thex said, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, "that we have restructured the nursery schedule around a human's nap time?" "Yes, Commander," Vash replied. "And this is necessary." Vash pulled up a holovid. It showed the nursery before Kaelin. Cubs screaming, biting, refusing to eat. Then it showed the nursery now. cubs laughing, playing gently, eating their meals. And in the center, always, Kalen, reading stories, wiping tears, bandaging tiny scrapes with exaggerated care that made the cubs feel brave. Last week, Vash continued. Kalen was sick. She sent word she could not come. The cubs cried for 3 hours straight. They refused to eat. One tried to bite through the wall to find her. We had to call her on the comm, just so they could hear her voice. Commander Thex watched the footage. What does she do that we cannot? She treats them like they matter, Vash said. Not like future soldiers. Like children who are scared and far from home. The following month, Kalen's official position changed from orientation trainee to nursery specialist, human liaison. Her salary increased. Her quarters upgraded. And at 1,300 hours each day, the Academy's training grounds went quiet for exactly 20 minutes, because 23 cubs, future warriors of the Vrelnian Empire, would only sleep if the small human with the soft voice was sleeping too. They curled around her, their fur rainbow bright with contentment, tiny claws tucked safe against her sides that in 3 centuries, the Galactic Military Academy had trained countless warriors. But Kalen taught them something they had forgotten. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit that children need gentleness. And sometimes the bravest warriors are the ones who let themselves be held.